Hiroshima and Nagasaki, two large cities in Japan, both destroyed by one of these. Estimated killing over 300,000, this is the story of how the greatest weapon ever devised was made. In late 1939, the United States was onlooking the destruction taking place in Europe when they received a letter from a well-known German scientist, Albert Einstein. In it, Einstein warned that Germany had made large discoveries in the splitting of an atom and was developing a bomb that could destroy an entire port in a single strike. Out of fear, the United States decided to start research, but it was not until 1941 that the program began. This secret operation, called the Manhattan Project, was conducted all over the United States with the ultimate goal of beating the German Reich in a race for a weapon capable of catastrophic destruction. The research was conducted between 1942 and 1945, with most of the testing occurring in Los Alamos, New Mexico. Also, there were many other research centers across the United States, one being Oak Ridge, Tennessee, otherwise known as the Secret City. Oak Ridge did not exist before 1942. It was created by General Leslie Groves and Robert Oppenheimer after they acquired 59,000 acres of land. The town was created to house 30,000 people to work and maintain its X-10, Y-12, and K-25 plants, as well as numerous research labs. Robert Oppenheimer, who was tasked with the creation and management of the Manhattan Project, as well as building Oak Ridge, said in an interview,
"I said, this thing will never get on the rails unless there is a place where people can talk to each other and work together on the problems of the bomb." And this could be at Oak Ridge, it could be some California desert, but someplace there's got to be a place where people are free to discuss what they know and what they don't know and to find out what they can.
Secrecy was of utmost importance to Robert Oppenheimer and Major General Leslie Groves, so many of their scientists were in the dark about why they were conducting the research. They did not know they were being directed to create one of the most destructive weapons in the history of mankind. A weapon so powerful it would be unparalleled in its destructive capabilities. Workers to fill this massive new city were hired from all across the country, many of whom had just graduated from high school. Despite being a gigantic government facility disguised as a town, it still had many traditional institutions to offer its citizens. Some being high schools, gymnasiums, libraries, dance halls, and everything else that would make it seem like any other town. By the end of the war, Oak Ridge's population was at a staggering 75,000, far greater than the original planned 30,000. The point of the city was simple: congregate enough people to research nuclear science, manufacture radioactive isotopes, and deploy their knowledge into the creation of a bomb. All of the people who worked in Oak Ridge would prove to be consequential in the development of the bomb, despite the majority of them not knowing what their research was for. When the first test of the atomic bomb at the Trinity test in Los Alamos, it proved just how effective of a weapon it could be. Due to its destructive capabilities, many of the researchers thought the weapon could only ever be used as a deterrent.
It was an unusually calm and clear morning. A few minutes after 8 o'clock, two superfortresses in formation appeared over the city. Then a bomb came hurtling down from one of the giant bombers. There was a blinding flash, then a deafening explosion. In an instant, Hiroshima was a scene of unprecedented chaos. Hiroshima was instantly transfigured. There was nothing left but ruins, nothing standing to hinder a full view of the city.
However, on August 6, 1945, the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. It left devastating consequences, leaving 90,000 to 120,000 dead and many more injured. The bomb was seen as a success as it was able to cripple the Japanese war machine. After the bombing, President Truman addressed the nation, saying,
the British, Chinese, and United States governments have given the Japanese people adequate warning of what is in store for them. We have laid down the general terms on which they can surrender. Our warning went unheeded. Our terms were rejected. Since then, the Japanese have seen what our atomic bomb can do. They can foresee what it will do in the future. The world will note that the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, a military base. That was because we wished in the first attack to avoid, insofar as possible, the killing of civilians.
Discoveries made during the project allowed scientists to begin thinking about how to use nuclear fission as a power source. Furthermore, they now understand how radiation affects the human body and the environment, which was relatively unstudied at the time of the development of the bomb. However, with this new technology came devastation never before seen on this planet. Not only were Hiroshima and Nagasaki completely destroyed, the lives of the citizens would forever be changed. Many of the people who survived the original blast suffered severe burns and later dealt with the effects of radiation poisoning. As a result of the attack, the Japanese economy was obliterated and forced the government to surrender. On August 15th, Emperor Hirohito of Japan announced on public radio that they would make peace with the United States. The atomic bomb became one of the largest achievements of the United States during the 40s. Not only did it help end World War II, but it was a massive breakthrough in scientific technologies.
We have spent more than $2 billion on the greatest scientific gamble in history, and we have won. But the greatest marvel is not the size of the enterprise, its secrecy, or its cost, but the achievement of scientific brains in making it work. And hardly less marvelous has been the capacity of industry to design the machines and methods to do things never done before. Both science and industry work together under the direction of the United States Army, which achieved a unique success in an amazingly short time. It is doubtful if such another combination could be got together in the world. What has been done is the greatest achievement of organized science in history.
Although Japan suffered the worst of the damage from the bombs, the United States also experienced problems at home. With very little understanding of how radioactive materials would react with living things, there were no regulations on the removal of waste from these research plants. One of the worst cases was in the Columbia River. Many chemical separation plants were built there because of the abundance of water it could provide. Radioactive materials were carried away by the water or blown downstream. This had a devastating effect on aquatic life in the area. Fish populations began to decrease at an alarming rate, and 2 Native American tribes, known as the Yakimas and the Nez Perce, claimed that they had seen some fish glowing at night. As one of the site supervisors, Leslie Gross began research on the water quality and found that the water being put back into the river was highly toxic and could be fatal to the aquatic community. However, most of his discoveries were kept classified out of fear of what people would say about the project. It is evident that the breakthroughs in nuclear chemistry defined the century. Not only did it bring the world to the brink of destruction, it led to some of the most important medical discoveries of all time. Because of the thousands of scientists and workers who worked on the Manhattan Project, countless lives have been saved by their research. But the costs of the lives lost have been great, and world politics have not been the same since the inception of the Manhattan Project.